death and how people cope up with it, the loss of someone, and how they heal themselves and how they come of age. As the tagline of the film suggests, celebrate life, death, and everything in between. So Banaras represents that completely, because they say Banaras is a place where people go to die, in their last dying days they go there to get salvation. At the same time, it's a very interesting thing what Banaras sees is that they really know how to live life to the fullest. They don't care about like how we urban people are, that we have to go pay our taxes, file our bills, look up online, go shop. They don't have these pressures the way we have. So they really want to live life and celebrate it. So that is the spirit that we're trying to capture, and hence Banaras becomes a perfect representation of how we want to talk about small cities in India and what the modern side of small cities of India, and how they are kind of caught up between modernity and tradition. That is what the film is about, and hence Banaras.
If Neeraj had a star in his film, he would have had more budget to make. Both are important. You can't live in denial about it because it's show business at the end of the day. It's something that needs to reach the people. Also, it has to be financially viable to do. We're not hoping to break the bank with this film. But if it's financially viable to make a film like Masaan, and it's chuk na. If it's financially viable to do a film like Masaan, then there will be more Masaan. There will be more good quality cinema delivered to the intelligent audience. Right now, we just assume that audience is brain dead. We just make masala films don't necessarily always have logic, but it's the same country that has watched great films in the 50s and the 60s. That was the same people actually. Our grandparents and our parents watched those good films. They were all mass films, all commercial films, all Manmohan Desai, all these films. They had a certain logic, and we've all grown up on them. So I think both are important. Being commercially successful, being a star, being an actor, all are important. Right now I'm an actor, maybe one day I'll become a star, then I'll come back to you.
To a lot of Kalini, Bhagwan, and for this film specifically, I would say for Deepak's character, a film that really blew me was Pratibandhi. Because it really talks about the youth in revolt of the convention and how they want to embrace modernity. And that was a reference given to all of us, all of them. And I think, all the answers are coming to me only, but even Devi's character, Richa, really, we had a lot of reference films like Three Colors Blue, where she did Vinush plays a character that well. And she also by herself saw Charulata, and how her agitated state in the film, which is somewhere related deep down in ambition, in aspiration and desire. So that she really got it well. So those were my references, and for this film specifically, my inspirations have been two filmmakers. One is Walter Salles, his film Motorcycle Diaries, and another Pasek, and the Dardenne brothers, who are the Belgian filmmakers. They have been my greatest influence because they talk a lot about working class and their moral conflicts and existential crisis, as against their socio-political or economical backdrop. So that they ignore, and they only talk about their moral crisis, and that interests me a lot, and you will see that in the film.
Educated upper caste girl, whose approach, she has very positive and poetic approach towards life. She loves literature, Bashir Badr Akbar Allahabadi, Shairi बहुत पसंद है. So she falls in love for the first time in her life, and it's almost love at first sight. And when the first love happens, you don't know what has hit you. It's so beautiful, it's so magical. In fact, when we started shooting, we started with a song montage to Kisi Ne Sing. And it was so real because there was no set. Everything was very, all the locations were real.
That was actually shot in
Durga Puja.
Oh, yeah.
So, with the entire, the song. So it was just so special because we started our shoot during the festival. So it was a blessing. And it just felt very auspicious, and we enjoyed it so much. There was magic happening, there was chart between the shots, we were running, eating, and the entire, when Neeraj had given me the narration, when he told me about the script, I remember whenever he told me about the love story, I would just smile. And then when I read the script, I was like, I have to be a part of this. And it's an honor when you're not a star kid and somebody writes a part for you before you've made it big. So it feels very special, and the script, the scenes are so beautifully written that every time now I even like, I think I see the song at least 3 to 4 times a day because it makes me really happy. So yeah, Shalu is for me she's like a white cloud, or you know, like a balloon that you see, because every time you see a balloon it makes you happy. So I think my job in the film is that whenever Shalu comes on screen, she has a very pleasant association with that.
Inspired by the script that is at hand, first and foremost, because that changes. And you know, if I really look up to somebody, God forbid they do something wrong and fall from grace. So I don't hold anyone to such high expectations. And I get inspired from life. You know, there's so many stories to tell, so many things to share, so much to communicate vis-a-vis art. You know, I mean, look at our work as art.
But how do you nourish yourself? Do you read a lot?
I used to read a lot before we joined this imaginary landscape of Bollywood, which doesn't leave any time to do anything. You know, anytime you ask somebody who wants to be an actor, what are you doing, how are you preparing, they say, oh, you know, I go to the gym. So, all that has started in the... I mean, I used to read a lot. I still try and read, and I like music and art and the news and things. I think something or the other manages to nourish me.
But why do you say...
A very unfortunate thing happened in Bangalore a few days ago. There's an activist, a rape survivor, who uploaded a video of men harassing a woman, and her car got pelted with stones, even though the same video had been circulating on WhatsApp and everything for a while. The thing is, what I also keep saying, hey, please yaar.
लाइट नहीं जल रहा था ना,
तो भाई इतना संजीदे चीज पे बात कर रहे हो, ऊपर से पीछे शोर हो रहा है, लाइट नहीं जल रहा है, हवा नहीं आ रही है। एक मिनट, हम जो बोलते हैं ना कि आई फील कि मर्यादा का भार औरत पे आ जाता है। औरत टाइम पे घर आए, औरत पूरे कपड़े पहने, औरत आदमी से बात ना करे, औरत मुंह छुपा ले, औरत काजल ना लगाए, तो ये औरत पे आ जाता है। कोई अपने लड़कों को नहीं रोकता है कि आप बाइक लेकर रात को मत जाओ, सब बोलते 7 बजे से पहले घर पे आ जाओ। This is a truth. This is a truth that we've all been raised with, and I've been raised with this truth. I come from Delhi, which is unfortunately known as the rape capital of this country, and I'm hoping that we create a world in which we are not embarrassed of raising our daughters with full freedom. And I'm hoping that if I have a daughter, that she can go out freely and do what she likes. And the truth is that you have to. There was a movement even on Twitter which said, "Shame the rapist." You have to put the onus of blame where it belongs. Don't hide the girl's identity. She didn't do anything. She didn't ask for it. So, I mean, the only difference between Devi and me is probably that her natural expression of sexuality at her age, in the way that she knows, is not something that the film judges or I judge or she judges. But she lets it be, like most people would. In that sense, it's realistic. But it's so true, and it's so sad that we are part and parcel of this strange patriarchy that, you know, that has a month off in Durga Puja and praises the goddess. But we really treat our women very badly.